I think it goes without saying that XLOOKUP is one of the most powerful formulas in all of Google Sheets. And once you learn it, you're pretty much going to use it all the time. And a mistake a lot of people make is that they use XLOOKUP only with their designated functions. But secretly, you can combine XLOOKUP in different ways to make some really powerful formulas. So I'm going to show you 4 different ways to use XLOOKUP in this video. First, we're going to use XLOOKUP to look up values from multiple tabs all at once. Second, we're going to use XLOOKUP to identify a single cell where 2 values cross within an entire database. Third, we're going to use XLOOKUP based off of data in an entirely different spreadsheet. And fourth, we're going to create an XLOOKUP if formula that doesn't exist, but we're able to do it with this trick. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure to hit that button before we move on. Without further ado, let's dive in. The majority of people don't know that you can do this, but you can actually do a nested XLOOKUP formula to pull information from multiple tabs. So for example, we have a list of associates and we want to find out what their status is. But the problem is we have an active roster list and we have an inactive roster list. So I need to be able to pull from both. If I look right here, we have all of our actives, but everything else has a missing area. So what I'm going to do is type equals XLOOKUP, select the search key, put a comma, and now I'm going to go to my active roster list first. I'll select the lookup range, the return range, and then now if there's a missing value, we're going to do another XLOOKUP formula. So I'll type in XLOOKUP, open parentheses. I'll go back to our first tab, select John Smith again, which is A2. Then we're going to go to our second tab. So I'll go to my inactive roster, select my search range, put a comma, and select the return range. Now put a comma so nothing's found, then it's blank. Close out both times and press enter. So now, even if they're on different tabs, I can scroll down and it will automatically pull through. So what's happening is it's looking up the first sheet first, and if it finds something, it's going to return it. So John Smith is active, it's on the first sheet, so it's good to go. And if it doesn't find anything, it's going to run the second XLOOKUP formula based off of the inactive roster tab. And you can do this as many times as you need to get all the different tabs in one sheet. So that will save you time having to create a separate sheet, doing a VStack or whatever you want to do to compile everything together. Best of all, even if they're in different columns on different sheets, it will still work. Most people don't know that you can actually find out what the details are for a specific cell super easily, and you don't even need index and match anymore. Instead, you can do a nested XLOOKUP formula. So we're going to type equals XLOOKUP and select the search key, which will be the associate, and we'll select all the associates. Now here's the key. Instead of selecting a single column for you to look up, we're going to do another XLOOKUP formula. And this time we're going to select the quarter, put a comma, select all of the headers, put a comma, and select all of the different options that it could be for result. Now when I press enter, it will give me Samantha Clark Q3, 12,000. And if I want to select anybody else, I can say Mark Davis Q3, 23,000, let's say Q1. And we'll show you exactly what the value of the cell is at those crosses. So that's a nested XLOOKUP formula. So let's say we have John Smith, we want to find out its status. Its status is actually on this spreadsheet over here in my roster. So a lot of people would just copy and paste and they would look up things, but we're going to do this better. So I'm going to go ahead back to my other spreadsheet and type equals XLOOKUP, select associate, and put a comma. Now I'm going to do import range, copy the URL, paste that, put a comma, and then now we need the name, so roster. And I want to look up from the associate, so I'm going to select all of column A. So I'm going to go back to my spreadsheet, and inside quotes, type in roster, exclamation point, A to A, in the quote, and close it out. Now I'm going to do the same exact thing for our return range. Copy, comma, paste. And now I'm going to change it from A to A to D to D. And the reason why I'm doing D is because over here, the status is in column D. Now once you press enter, it will ask you to allow access, so that way you can pull from the other spreadsheet. And once you do, you'll be able to look up all the different values. So for example, Elizabeth Garcia is inactive and Elizabeth Garcia is inactive. So now everything lives on the other spreadsheet, but you have all the information that you need right here. XLOOKUP if doesn't exist, but it does not mean it's impossible. So for example, with XLOOKUP, you can look up the first time that something exists. So AtherTech, for example, if I did an XLOOKUP formula here, it would return 176. But what if I want to look it up for each specific category? So I want to see what the amount was for this week, for last week, and for 2 weeks ago. That's not possible with a standard XLOOKUP formula. So we want an XLOOKUP if. So we'll type equals XLOOKUP. We'll select our search key, put a comma. And now we want to do a query formula. So we'll put query. We want to query the database. So we're going to select A through F, put a comma. And now we want to return the company. So I'm going to say select B. So it only returns B for the lookup, where A equals soft quote, quote, ampersand, the contents of cell H1, go ahead and anchor that in, ampersand, quote, soft quote, then I'll close that out. So instead of having a singular column for our lookup range, it's only going to show whatever is correlated right here. So it's only going to look up for last week. Now I'm going to copy this query again, and we'll paste it. And instead of looking up column B, I want to return column F. So now I can press enter and it will give me the information that I want. I'm going to go ahead and autofill it for everybody. So now we have last week, for example, and it's showing that last week Aether Tech had $60 for the amount, and that's exactly it. But this is dynamic, so I can do 2 weeks ago and it will change to 120 right there, or I can do this week, 217. So it's essentially an XLOOKUP if formula where it will only look up part of the database based off of what parameters you set. If you're not familiar with XLOOKUP, import range, or query, I have videos on all three of these showing exactly how to use them. I'll link those down below, so make sure to check them out. I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to subscribe. And as always, let me know if you have any questions and like and comment for more.